everybody.
Yes.
Oh, I see it now. We're live streaming. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
Happy Monday night.
Happy Monday. Welcome to Star Wars Rebels Revisited. And today we're going to go into our Andor prediction episode. So we're going to need your help on this, guys. So we want to hear in the comments your predictions for this
Yes.
season of Andor.
Hopefully, this will be a very interactive episode. That's what we're looking forward to. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Jen.
I know also some members of the family have seen the first 3 episodes.
Mhm.
We'll
The
stay
man
away
behind the
from-
chair.
That's right. Jeff is producing tonight, and he was fortunate enough to go to Disney Friday, I think it was,
Yep.
to see the first 3 episodes of the show. We're not going to spoil anything. He told us a little bit. I'm trying to go in as blind as the general public, but all of the social media reviews are now, the embargo's gone. So you can start seeing reviews from people, which is cool. It's getting good press, and it doesn't seem like it's getting paid for shill good press. It seems like it's legitimately getting good press, so that's good to hear.
Exactly. A lot of people are saying like this is what they've wanted in a Star Wars show so far, which is kind of heartening and kind of like, some of the stuff I really love so far. So, but I'm really excited. I can't wait to see where it goes and to see what we uncover this season.
Yeah. And that's actually what this episode is going to be about, talking about the season as a whole. So since we know that there's already 3 parts out there that a large portion of the influencer community have gotten to see, there's probably like full spoilers out or coming soon. I certainly imagine waking up tomorrow morning on YouTube and being inundated with too much information. We're going to talk more broad strokes about what we expect to see in the series, and in particular, how it connects to Rebels, because this show is ultimately a Rebel show. And I want to get this out of the way at the top of the show. We are not going to be doing weekly reviews of Andor here on Rebels Revisited. The VCN, the boys, the trio, so Spencer, Dave, and Jeff, the 3 amigos, are going to be doing a watch along every Thursday night with an episode of Andor. And they're actually going to start this Thursday with episodes 1 and 2. And then the following Thursday, they'll do episodes 3 and 4 so they catch up. And then it's 1 episode a week after that.
So it's going to be exciting. They're going to kick us off right.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be fun. I'm going to try to join as an attendee, not as a co-host or anything, as often, because I want to see how the group feels about the show. And I love to rewatch, especially in the beginning. I remember when WandaVision first came out, I think I watched the first episode like 10 times over the course of that first week. Like, it just keep going.
You wanted to solve the mystery, and there was a lot of mysteries, like what is going on? And I feel like we might have some of that in this season.
It certainly
like
feels that way.
A lot of world building, a lot of construction, and
A lot
both
of
new stuff we haven't seen before.
Yeah, mysteries to solve. Who are these people? What are these new costumes that I've definitely not seen high-res photography of? Who are you? Like things like that, right? Like for me, especially being a licensee, I want to see what characters end up becoming really important for us to decide if we want to tackle like a full-scale costume for someone, or is someone that I think interesting looking a throwaway, or doesn't resonate with the audience. I think that's going to be important. But I'm very, of course, as the thesis of this show, interested in how we connect to Rebels, right?
Yeah, I want to see, obviously in Rebels the theme is building the rebellion and the building blocks of the rebellion up until this point. So this is also getting in at the ground floor of the rebellion. But I feel like the stakes are a little higher in this one, obviously, because animated versus live action, family friendly versus, more geared towards adults. Yeah. So
or TV 14. I guess it's TV 14, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's I'm so excited. I can't wait to see where.
Too.
I'm worried. See, personally, I'm worried about latching onto a character that kind of just gets falled by the wayside. Like,
everyone in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hi, Robert.
Andor definitely has
Hey, Robert.
an adult vibe in general, just so
Oh, cool. Are all the episodes an hour?
No, we got about they were averaging about 35 to 40 minutes.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right.
So, with credits, it'll be another 5 minutes, of course, but they cut the credits out for us between episode 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, so that they ran them all at the end.
Mhm.
That's cool. That's interesting. I thought they would be like at least an hour a piece, but
No,
part of me is
Mm.
disappointed, but part of me is kind of excited because it'll be faster paced and
they're
a
very
little more fluid.
tight.
Good. Okay. That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm right now with She-Hulk on air. That one is 25 to 30 minutes an episode.
Mhm.
It's really quick. And then there were times when we'd watch Mando and it was like 50 minutes and it's like, oh my God, it's still going. And that's not to say that Mando was not good. Mando was great.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how the time moves differently in some of these universes. Like
I
She-Hulk's
could,
very light and very comedic. And then I think Andor is going to be very serious. So it's probably
I
good
could
that
see
it's going to
them
be,
doing something like that with Andor, where there'll be some heavier or longer episodes, maybe towards the end of the season or at pivotal points.
yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
I agree.
Nice.
Ah, it's gonna be good.
Well, we're not going to let Jeff weigh in on predictions since he's already gotten a
Sorry,
head
Jeff.
start.
Yeah.
But if you hear him pop in, he's producing us tonight. And then again, like he'll be on every Thursday for the watch alongs. Hi, Lila.
Lila's here.
Yes, I
Hey.
almost said Leela, which is my cat. So
Mhm.
it's like she's on the
Aw.
brain. Before I forget, in case anyone can see, look what just arrived. I'm so excited about
Eh.
this.
Oh, no.
Uh, I got
So
my
cool.
Star Wars Rebels Revisited shirt. So thank you to Dave and Jeff and Spencer for putting this together. These
That
are available.
pops. Wow.
It's good. This is the turquoise.
That's
So
one I
the
have in my cart.
design is like the letters are more orange and the silhouette of the Rebels crew is more red, but it really
Yeah.
works on every color. So I got an orange as well. Let me show you the orange. And I swear we'll get into the topic of the episode. This is
Shameless
the
plug.
orange. Yeah, shameless plug to buy our merch. The orange shirt.
That
Which,
looks
of course,
great.
orange is a great Rebels color. That's like an in-universe color that's really significant. The dark blue, which I got from my
Wow.
husband. This is more his style. And then the heather blue. This is actually the one I got for him. So this one is slightly different than the other blue I showed you, but there's like a heather to it.
Nice.
So yeah, and they have them in yellow and of course black and gray and white. And it's like if I have one more black t-shirt, oh my God, right? Like that seems to be the standard for
90% of
everything.
my wardrobe is black or navy blue. I totally get it because I am a
Yeah.
klutz and I stain everything. But
And
I'm willing to get the turquoise blue and the orange because they just look
This is
phenomenal on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at it pop. It's so
I know
cool.
this is really good. Lila's saying I'm definitely going to stand out in the con. That's the point. Hence the orange as well. And I feel
Yeah.
like when we get to Celebration in April of next year, I'll probably be in De Nuevo Novo colors, which is also like a bold blue, like a cobalty kind of thing. But in my like walk around fan shirt, like a turquoise or an orange will be great. Really like stand out. I highly recommend check out our T Public store. We get none of the money, by the way. This is going for swag at Celebration. So this
Right.
will help like
And-
fund all the activities that the boys put together.
Jeff dropped the link in the chat so you guys can see
Oh,
it.
awesome. It
But
came right away too. I placed my order and they were here in just a couple days and I ordered 4 shirts. So
that's phenomenal.
they're moving fast.
Right.
We're at about 10 after. Do we want to start getting into our Rebels predictions? And again, call to action
Sure.
to everyone in the comments. Let us know if you agree with us, if you disagree with us. What do you think is going to happen? Like, I'd love for this to be some give and take discussion. I'm going to lead us off with just like a very overarching kind of broad scale. I don't think we're going to see that many returning characters. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say that everyone from Rogue One, other than Saw Gerrera and Bail Organa, who's sort of already been confirmed, I don't think we're going to see. I think that whole slate of people that were in that one movie are not coming back. I think that this is not a prequel to Rogue One. I think this is a rebellion building story. So we're not going to see I'm sorry, Ashley, some of your boys, Cheered and Baze and Bodhi.
It's always season 2.
It could be season 2. We know we're not
Yeah.
going to see K2SO until season 2. So I'm going to start there with like what I would say is sort of like it's a negative framed sentence. Like we're not going to see these people. That's my thought right there.
No, it's understandable. I mean, they have so many episodes that they were graciously given already. Like Disney knew they had a hit with this series and they were just like, yes, do more of this. And that's what I'm getting from the 24 episode vibe of this.
Yeah.
Because usually we don't get things like that unless it's like an animated series, like Bad Batch or Clone Wars or anything like that. So this is huge. This is big
this is going
deal
to be
for Star
on
Wars.
air through Thanksgiving. Like, that's how long this show is running. Labor Day just happened, and this is taking us through basically the start of the Christmas shopping season. So this is a nice long run. I remember Mando season 1 was, what, 8 episodes? It started at Thanksgiving, and it was over by New Year's. Like, it was that fast. So this is going to be a nice, slow, hopefully long burn that people can really get invested in. And I hope we just don't see people drop out because of the duration. I'm wondering now, have people's viewing habits changed so much that, like, they can't keep up with 12 episodes or 14 episodes or 15 or 20 or whatever it is. Like, I'm wondering if, like, there's a cap on the number of episodes people will tune into. This is like a whole I used to work in Nielsen. I could tell you, like, this is something that someone would fund a study to find out, like, would people be in for this, or would they rather see like 8-hour long episodes instead of 16 half-hour episodes? Like, I think the streaming services and all of the networks are struggling with that very thing right now.
Yeah, people, they want instant gratification with things nowadays, which is kind of sad because
it is.
Again, like, you can have the #1 show on Netflix and they still won't give you a second season because they have to just, go through the analytics. Sorry, I'm still bitter. Sandman
I'm hearing you. I knew exactly who you were talking about with Sandman.
Yeah,
but I honestly think if they put it in 2 halves, and they did Sandman season 1 part 1 and then season 1 part 2, you don't even have to make it 2 seasons. You just split it. You would have been able to stay in the press a little bit longer.
Exactly.
And that halfway point would have then, like, resolved the first part of that conflict, and then the second half could have been devoted to the dream lady, right? The girl who's able to, like, jump in the dreams.
Exactly.
That felt like a split, or it was almost felt like it was built that way.
Oh yeah. It was just like, okay, we're gonna give you the death episode, to the sound of her wings, to calm you down after all the stress of the first half of the season, and then just go into the dream vortex. But I feel like and I heard this, Netflix, it might be changing within the next year, their viewing policies to keep it more like how Disney and HBO Max do, with making it more episodic instead of just dumping the entire season down at once, because it's kind of making their stuff fall by the wayside. It's not keeping,
you lose all the press,
consistent press and consistent viewership. So I think, with the exception of Stranger Things, from what I heard on the radio the other day, yes, I still listen to the radio, that they're going to try that. And I think, like, shows like The Mandalorian and shows like Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, and The Rings of Power have kind of, like, fueled that. So it will be
keep
interesting.
Coming back every week.
Yeah. And it would also keep their subscriptions longer, because I know a lot of people just sign up for, like, one show that they really want to see that's coming out, and then they just cancel the subscription. So it ends.
That's what Lila just said too.
Yes, it ends that instant gratification.
Yeah. It was interesting. Netflix used to be differentiated by the fact that they would make you binge, and then it would be like a hot thing, but also, like, Stranger Things happened, and then it was still a slow burn. Like, people binged it. The people who saw it were like, wow, this is great. I didn't binge it until like a week later. And by say until, like, it was all over the pop culture, and then lots of other people followed over the several months. Whereas now it's here today, gone today, like, on every single thing. Yeah. It'll be like network TV. Exactly.
Yes,
Dave.
exactly.
Like, it's the thing I keep screaming about. I demand all of us to view this together for appointment television, which is why I'm very excited about Thursdays. So, Dave, we've already plugged you guys a couple times now, but every Thursday, the boys, we're going to be doing a watch along for Andor, and that's something I want to be a part of as often as possible. So that'll be really fun. They'll be doing,
and also, like, it'll get us a chance to, like, okay, watch it again, talk about it as a community, see what we missed when we were up at 3 a.m. watching it. Guilty.
I'm going to wake up early Wednesday. That's my only way. Yeah,
it's exciting, and it again, appointment TV. It's what we are here for.
So, Ashley, what do you have as, like, a big overarching prediction, or even a small one? You can get really granular if you want.
Well, right now, my current small prediction is that we can tell from the trailer that something is going to happen to Cassian and his homeworld when he's young, to the point where he's perfected the art of sneaking onto Imperial ships and Imperial encampments and things like that. So I think we'll see what made him kind of get to that point, like kind of what gave him the freedom to just be like, oh, well, they're ruining my homeworld, so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
I can go in and do this. So we'll learn more about his backstory, but I think it'll be like a major life-changing event that will propel that. And
Can I
I
tack on
just
to that and say it's death of a
yes,
parent?
death of a parent because we
Yeah,
don't see Mr. Andor floating around anywhere,
no.
do we?
And I think old lady Andor's grandmother, I think both his parents are dead.
Yeah.
And it's so cold to just say it out loud that way. Like he's an orphan. I think he's another Disney prince orphan.
Mm.
We got to give him the tragic backstory and
I'm
motivation.
inclined to agree with you. Yeah, because
Yeah.
Fiona Shaw, who is playing Marva, um, like I said on Thursday with the boys, that when she came up in the closed captioning when we were watching like the special trailer for Andor, it came up as Marva Andor. So it could
Mm,
be his grandmother, it could be
I
his
think
mother,
so.
but we'll find
It's a
out.
little, he's young, like he's younger than me. And that lady is two generations, I think, different from him, my suspicion.
Yeah.
The way they've aged her with the makeup, I don't think Fiona looks that old in real life. I think she's
No.
intentionally looking grandmotherly, as
Right.
opposed to motherly. And they usually age women down, as we know in the industry. So that's my suspicion. I mean, I hate to like throw it out into the universe, be like, I hope you have dead parents. Like that sounds terrible. It's more like I expect that that's
Yeah.
what they're going to do because it's become a trope. We were
Yeah.
going through this the other day with the orphans. Ezra's an orphan. Kanan is an orphan because he's taken by the Jedi.
Like
Hera has one
Sabine is
parent
the
left.
only one that has
Sabine,
both of her parents,
yeah,
and her dad is imprisoned for
but
most of the
she was
series.
estranged from them for the longest
Yes,
time. So everyone's
exactly.
sort of piecing together their families with like pieces of parents to try to form a family, right?
Right.
And it's true. It's kind of true everywhere. I'm excited to meet Ahsoka's mom in the Tales of the Jedi, by the way, because like, what's
And
that baby?
grandmother from the look of it.
That's right. Yeah, that'll be
Yes.
cool. Okay. I want to jump on something that was said on unifying force because I want to agree with, and it made me think. I said this on Thursday too. Catherine on the unifying force mentioned that she thinks that Andor and Mon Mothma aren't going to cross paths until the very end of the season. And she thinks that Andor, it's almost like has to earn his way up to her. And she articulated it better than the way I'm saying it. But basically, like Andor is going to meet another character in the rebellion, and basically he's gonna have to prove his worth and run missions and all that stuff, and then it'll be revealed that like Mon Mothma is also one of the rebels. And I thought that was so smart because it's not something I had considered, that of course they wouldn't know each other and they wouldn't
Yeah.
cross paths, because Mon Mothma has to maintain her secrecy. She's still in the Senate, as we can see from the trailer. She's still in the hall on Coruscant, like screaming at an open room. No one's listening. The Senate's useless. There's no one there in that picture, right? Like
Yeah.
compare that Senate shot to like episode 1, 2, and 3, where the chairs are full and people are like clapping as democracy dies. There's no
Yeah.
one there. Democracy's dead, right? So the
Yeah.
Senate's not doing anything.
It's just a
She's
formality.
Yeah. So she's secretly
Yeah.
working as a rebel. Probably no one knows other than Stellan Skarsgård, and Bail Organa, and they're not going to tell Cassian that she's a rebel, or secretly a
Yeah.
rebel. So he might not. I think they will not share screen time until the final episode. I'm going to go all in on this,
Ooh.
and I'm going to buy Catherine lunch if we ever meet in real life because she is responsible for this. They're going to meet in the final episode of the series, and it's going to be one of those things, and she's going to be like, Cassian Andor, you're the one I've heard about this whole time, or some shit like that. So
So
that's my bold prediction.
Lila says, I think he will have a similar experience like Mando as a child. The Empire, by default of their tyranny, started the rebellion. So that is a really good point.
Yeah.
And I think it also might be similar. Like he just, instead of having Death Watch, he'll probably have his grandmother. We'll see.
Yeah.
And David says, but where are Chopper's parents? I know. Hera found him and fixed
Yeah.
him up. So
Pieces
technically
of
she's his
parents,
mom.
right?
Yeah.
All right, that's my bold prediction. You have another one you want to throw out to the group? Does anyone agree with me, by the way, or agree with Catherine?
I agree with both of you. Like I really think that again, she's gonna hear about his efforts through and you can kind of see, I'm not sure if it's flashbacks or something, but you can see Stellan Skarsgård's character um talking to Mon Mothma. So she probably kind of fed him in through the grapevine on what Cassian's abilities are as a thief
Mm,
and what he's able to get out of the Empire. So she's had to have heard of him from him.
yes.
And will recruit him for something. So that is my additional prediction on top of it, that she is going
Yeah.
to need him for something big by the end of the season. And
Yes.
I cannot wait.
Me too. All right, you got one to add to the hopper?
Let's see. So, as for these new people that we're seeing, I think that he's going to have friends on his planet that he works with, um, sneaking into the Imperial bases and things like that with, and they end up getting captured. So he'll probably have to sneak in to help them out and
Okay.
go
Like
undercover.
that.
From what I can see, I think he's going to go undercover and help break them out
I like that. I
using
like a
his in
heist.
and out. Yeah. So, Star Wars and heists and things like that among the rebellion. They're
Yeah.
really good at those heist stories. So I think it's entirely possible that he'll have to go in and break his friends out of something against the Empire, and things won't go as according to plan, but
Someone's gonna
he'll
have to
get
die. Yeah,
someone might have to die.
there'll be a red shirt in the mix, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It just occurred to me because I haven't checked it in days. IMDb actually has there might be a Prison Break episode, Dave. Very Rebels, right? That's all they did. They infiltrated and extracted. IMDb actually has up the cast and crew and
Nice.
claims, you know how this goes in the beginning. They claim that they have the full cast and crew with including episode quantities. Diego Luna's in all 24 episodes. Genevieve
Of
O'Reilly as Mon
course.
Mothma's in 11 episodes, is what it claims, right? And Alex Ferns, who plays Sergeant Caustic, is also in 11 episodes. After that, it really drops off. People are here for 5 episodes, 4 episodes, 3 episodes, 1 episode. It's surprising to me that Stellan Skarsgård isn't like, I don't know, is he even on? Where is he? Stellan, I'm looking now. They have his stunt double listed on here, but they don't even have him listed. So IMDb obviously is not complete.
Wow.
So that's weird. But also like the show's not out yet and it's gonna update weekly. But this is a good place to go to see like who we think might be important. I don't recognize a lot of these names. I don't recognize any of these names really. Dave Chapman is back doing a droid. That's cool. He did BB-8 and numerous
Yeah.
other droids in the
So he'll probably be doing
the new
B2
trilogy.
emo.
Yes, that's the one, B2 emo.
Yes.
I'm trying to see if there's anyone else in the cast that I actually recognize. He was the only name that, yeah. Kevin Cornwall. He's done a bunch of Alien stuff as like a stunt creature performer. Ian White. He was in Rogue One, but played a different character. This is assuming any of this is true. It's always hard to tell in the beginning. Maybe he's in the first few episodes. We'll see I always check the credits. But I think it also comes and I also think it comes back though that like we're not going to see a lot of these returning characters. I do think since we'll see Saw Gerrera, we may also see his partisans, like a bunch of them. Like there has to be like probably a scene with them as he's forming his team. So we'll probably see them, but I don't know how much time we'll get with them. One of my big predictions is that I think Saw Gerrera is going to have like a really small role. Like I think they're telling us that Forrest Whitaker's in this show and he's on the poster because he's Forrest Whitaker and like he's an excellent actor and we recognize him from Rogue One and he's kind of a draw because let's face it, like Diego Luna's famous for this role, but not a whole lot else at the moment. I think he's on the path to easily become a household name. He's got the charisma. He's a great actor.
And he cares so much about this character and
really
having him on as executive producer and just kind of like helping push the story forward and use like as much experience as possible to get the character's backstory fleshed out. That's
it's certainly
so
important
cool.
to him.
And we saw it with Obi-Wan Kenobi and having Ewan be executive producer. I love that they're having these actors who love these roles so much help out fleshing out their stories.
Did you see his interview recently? I think someone asked him like, would he be in competition with Pedro Pascal or someone as the other like I guess Hispanic lead in like a show currently, and he was like, oh, it would be nothing but love. Like it was very but like much more, he said it much more charismatically than I did. And everyone's like, we love both, we love all of them. We love Diego, we love Pedro, we love Oscar. I think Diego or Pedro and Oscar are good friends. But Diego was very excited to meet everyone, and just one of those things where it's like Diego really loves this character and loves this franchise and is the right person to have like name above the title kind of thing. So I'm
Catherine brings up,
expecting,
oh, sorry.
okay.
Catherine brings up a good point. Saw can't share screen
Yes,
time with Cassian because he didn't recognize him in Rogue One. That is
exactly.
right. But
Yeah.
I also think you'll see Saw um,
Yeah, on his
talk with
own.
Mon Mothma
Yeah.
because
Oh,
they know
without a
each
doubt.
other. And
Well,
you see Saw less kind of mechanical from what
yes.
I can see in the poster
Less
and what's
crazy
in the trailer.
town too. So
Yes.
yeah, we're gonna see him
So
less brutalized, both physically, mentally, spiritually. Well, I think this goes back to something we said weeks ago when we were doing the Saw Gerrera watch along. I
yeah.
think we're gonna get the triggering event of him versus Mon Mothma. We already
Yeah.
saw a
There's your
fight with them.
prediction.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
That's one of my predictions for
Nice.
the series is that we already saw them fight. I'll say again in Rebels via
Yes.
hologram, and they've clearly done this before. They're on very different sides of the same
Mhm.
conflict. But like something happens that sets them apart. Like, and I think it's that like Mon Mothma is going to trust Saw Gerrera, and Saw Gerrera is going to kill innocent people somehow, and and that trust is going to break, and they're not going to be able to function together. And I want to see that triggering event. I actually hope it happens like pretty early on in the series, so we could just get to
Right.
it and have them on the opposite side already. Because I
And
don't
she's
need
been,
them to be friends.
yeah,
You know.
she's been trying so hard to like toe the line, like the gray area. And with
Mhm.
Saw, everything is black and white. It's
Yeah.
them against us. And something is going to have to be the catalyst for that change. So
Yeah.
I guess I think you're absolutely right. We'll see it here in some form. And I think it will be devastating and it will force her to act
Yeah.
on
Oh,
on
without a doubt.
a larger level.
Curious to see how that goes. Because they're both excellent actors too. I mean,
Oh, I
Genevieve is
know.
terrific. Forrest is
Goodness, Mitch.
amazing. Like, I want to see them share physical screen time. We've seen it on Rebels in animation. I want to see them in the same room. That's what which again, and again, it's not a Rogue One prequel, but these two have larger implications in the entirety of the Rebels, of the Rebel building, the Rebel Alliance building, and both those characters appear in the Clone Wars. Both those characters appear in Rogue One. Both those characters appear in Rebels. And of course, Mon Mothma goes all the way back to the OT, and now they're in Andor together. So they've
This
got,
will be the payoff.
yeah,
Yeah.
this will be, let's see that. I want to see that slap fight. It'll be good.
The payoff for you and David, who wants to see a Saw and Mothma Tango and Cash episode. So
Oh,
that will be
Jesus.
exciting.
They do have to start off as buddies to make the conflict matter more, right?
Absolutely.
So I want to see it all go to hell, obviously, and we know it's going to, but
Now, do
it
you
would be
think he's
nice
going
to
to
see something
betray
worth the wait.
her in that
Yeah,
way?
he's going to break
Okay.
her trust fully and lie to her, and like people are going to die. I think it's relatively predictable, like what's going to happen, but I just want to see it. I was like, don't tell us that happened. Like, show it to us and let us see the devastation.
Yeah.
And then also make it ambiguous enough that like some of the audience will side with Saul. That's all you need is just a sliver of us. It doesn't even need to be a 50-50. Like there needs to be
So,
enough of us that sympathize with him.
yes. And I'm going to expound on that. She's going to trust him with some resources and some people that will probably blow her cover if they know that she's giving it to him and he just completely takes advantage of that. So she gives him an inch, he takes like half a world, and it has detrimental effects. And I just think it could, that's what happens to blow
I
them
have
apart.
I have a build on your build. I have a thought. Imagine
Ooh.
this. He's out there with people who knows that obviously he's part of the Rebel Alliance, but they also know Mon Mothma is part of the Rebel Alliance. Similar to the opening shot of Rogue One, where Cassian Andor has to kill Tivik, that guy with the injured arm. One of her people is going to get kidnapped, and of course would then be tortured. And when it would, people would then find out that Mon Mothma is involved. He kills that person. So to save her cover, and the life he takes is to save hers, but she still doesn't think it's right because it's taking a life. Could you imagine? That's a complicated conflict. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we're going to unifying force for the fight, right?
We're gonna write
like,
this.
I know. So hire us to write your show, Disney. That could be fun.
Yes.
So okay, all right. Throw out another prediction for the group, Ashley.
Okay. I'm sorry I don't know her name, but the female Imperial officer, I think she might have some ties to like how calculated and how focused she is. She kind of reminds me of maybe Krennic in a way, because I think she's connected to him. And the reason why I say that is because she's so obviously like the white military costume, and they're really big on that. But she's so calculated and focused. And the parts that we do see her in the trailer, it's like, oh, where have we seen her, someone like that dead set against destroying the rebellion in Rogue One before? So,
she reminds me of Price. So same idea though.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with these Imperial officers and just being like absolutely cold and calculated and just ruthless. And she just strikes me as that. Like she was just willing to take out whoever and whatever to get what she wants. And we obviously don't see her in Rogue One, so something happens here. But I want to know more about her, and I think she's going to be a big source of headaches for not only the Imperial officer. I'm sorry, the guy next to Saw in our graphic here. A
I
big
like him.
headache
He's
for
cute.
him. A big headache for him, but a big headache for Mon Mothma and the rebellion as well, because she's aware. Like the rest of them aren't as awake to the rebellion yet as she is. So I feel like she's the one that like kind of has to get all the fat and satisfied people woken up to like what's really happening here.
Yeah.
So she'll be in instrumental in that happening.
I'm very excited to just spend a lot of screen time with Imperials. And yes, Imperials in white are always ruthless. Thrawn's a good example. Krennic, for all of his like floundering, and we were joking that he's like the Mr. Furley of villains, like just bumbling and getting his ass kicked wherever he heads. Like, he's ineffective, but he's also like, he also takes great glee in just killing all those people on Jeddah. Like he's terrible. He's also terrible at being terrible in some ways. Hold on one second. There's a question in the comments about the age of Mon Mothma and the age of Padme. And I thought that they were similar in age, and you won't believe it. They're both born in 46 BBY. So they are the same age. I just double checked it on the Wookiee. I thought they were close because Mon Mothma is a generation older than Leia, which creates some of the conflict that they have later on in the books. You don't see it on screen in any of the movies or anything, but like I knew that Mon Mothma was the same generation as Padme. They're the same year, which is fantastic. So she's like a stand-in almost for Padme. And I actually mentioned this, like when you watch Clone Wars, she's almost just like a mini extension of Padme in that space, like working in the Senate and trying to form like the alliance to restore the public, restore the Republic, which then becomes the Rebel Alliance, sort of just carrying on that work. But anyway, back to the Imperials, who I think we're going to spend a ton of time with. I want to see them do ruthless things and like kill innocent people with like no regard and like just not following basic protocol of government or even like protocols of war, right? Like I think we're going to see war crimes. I think we're going to see a lot of civilians just slaughtered. I think it's actually going to be really hard to watch for kids the more I think about it. Like this show is going to be a tough watch for someone who like enjoyed Rebels or enjoyed the Clone Wars or was even watching Obi-Wan because it was fun. Like they're going to see like this really gritty, like just mean lady wearing white, just like shoot a random civilian, maybe a child even. Like I think there might be dead children.
A war movie, Star Wars war movie continued. And Rogue One was hard to watch. Like, I knew some kids who couldn't watch it until they turned 10. Even though they really love Star Wars and they wanted to. It's like, no, people die in this. It's like really die in this. And get shot, get blown up, and it's not a comforting Star Wars film or show, but
no, not at all.
I think this is kind of like the Saving Private Ryan. I don't want to go that far, but maybe like similar of Star Wars.
I'm trying to look up who this one Imperial is. Adria Arjona playing Bix Kayleen. She's at least in 4 episodes according to IMDb. I don't know if any of this is accurate though, right? Again, the
So Bix Kayleen is the girl next to Mon. Yeah, she's next to Mon Mothma.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong. Oh, yeah. Of course. Oh my God, I'm looking at completely the wrong person. Where is the woman wearing white?
I think her name starts with a D.
Oh, this IMDb is not comprehensive. Again, like Stellan Skarsgård's not even on here.
Wow.
Because Caroline Green is the next woman listed down, and she's like a bartender. So this isn't getting us anywhere. If someone knows who that actress is, we can just try to look her up and see. But like, it's possible that the full credit list is only the first 3 episodes as well.
Right.
But that wouldn't make sense anyway, because like we should meet Stellan.
Deidre Miro is Denise Go or Goh. That's who the Imperial officer is. I just Googled it, but it's
Miro.
Dedrameero.
Sometimes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Curious to see. Yeah, I'm very curious about that character. She immediately resonated with me. Same as you, Ashley. When I saw her on screen, yeah, I was like, this is an interesting lady.
Yeah,
And
because the
it's a
first
great
trailer,
uniform.
you just see her marching through and she looks serious and you don't know whether or not she's a spy or if she's actual Imperial. But in the newest trailer, she's yelling about like, stopping the rebellion and she looks furious. So she's like, oh, that's a big bad. All right, cool.
Yeah. I don't see her badge, like her rank, because her coat is over where the rank badge would be.
Right.
But yeah, she's definitely wearing a black hat and like an off-white uniform. She's definitely ISB. We know that much. I love on Wookiee they filled in all the things that are pretty obvious. Like she's a human female with fair skin and blonde hair. We know nothing else.
See that.
Yeah. Like, oh, okay, we got nothing else. And that's fair. Like there's nothing, we haven't seen the show yet. Like, Wookiee's not going to have information that the rest of us don't. They don't publish anything that's rumors. So we'll keep an eye out for her. I'm excited to spend time with her. I think she's going to be horrendous. Like true Price level, just villain. I think she's actually going to be kind of a one-note character. I don't expect that she's going to like turn good or anything like that. I think she's just going to be like, bam, I'm the villain, which would be cool.
Right.
I'm good with that.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah. All right, let's see. I'm gonna look through my I have a big list over here. I think we will see other fulcrums. So as much as I don't think we're gonna get a lot of other like Easter egg cameo characters, Bail Organa we know is a fulcrum at this time. And I think because Andor is a fulcrum and like Ahsoka who's getting her own show is a fulcrum, I think we're going to have to see another fulcrum. I don't think it'll be Callus because that timeline doesn't line up. And again, like I don't think we're going to see live action Callus, but I do think we'll see Bail Organa, and I do think maybe we'll be introduced to another fulcrum that we don't already know about. I actually put my money on the fact that we would meet someone new in that space.
Yeah, like as much as I would love to see Callus, I would love also to see somebody new, whether it be in a small way or another way, like just making sure that we know that there are other fulcrums out there than like what the 3 we know about.
Yeah. There's got to be a much bigger network.
Expand the universe a little bit more. It'll be exciting to see. So, yeah, I'm not seeing her in IMDb, which is weird. So
it is weird. One thing before I forget, I'm sure we've all seen the latest TV spot. Did you see the ship that looks like it has a lightsaber on each side? Did you see that still frame?
That's strange.
Yeah, it's a W2H moment for sure. What did you think about that? Because I have a thought.
I was just like, whoa, what is that? And why does it look like that? But
why does it look like a lightsaber, right?
Why does it look like a lightsaber? But yeah, other than that, I'm just like, I'm really like, I'm intrigued. I want to know what it's all about. Like, is there a new class of starship going on? Like, is it another like TIE Defender kind of thing? Like, is it something that they're just building to progress against the rebel attacks? So it'll be interesting.
I have a very specific thought on this because in Rebels, and we just watched this episode a few weeks ago, the big kyber crystal that Saw Gerrera blows up. We know for a fact that the Imperials are trying to figure out how to weaponize kyber crystals, and they haven't quite figured it out yet, right? So like they're working on a Death Star. They also have the TIE Defender program running. So that's like a separate stream of like, they're always working on different defense systems. They've got different offensive systems. They've got those projects we saw in Rogue One that we watched last week, like Project Stardust, which was obviously the Death Star, and then like light speed tracking and all sorts of other technologies.
Black Saber, yeah.
Right. So there are things like weaponizing kyber crystals, and in theory you could put it into a gun. We know for a fact that Ezra was able to turn his lightsaber into a combo blaster, right? So you'd expect that they're trying to figure out how to make a blaster out of it. First, though, other than the super weapon, the Death Star, which obviously Palpatine had started like way back when, they're like, okay, we need something smaller scale. Here's a ship that can shoot out. I don't know if it like the frame cut where I couldn't tell if they were just long blades like a lightsaber or if it was
Yeah.
actually shooting a laser. It
Wow.
could be that it has small scale lasers, which wouldn't be unheard of because we saw Ezra do it. And we know
Yeah.
that the Death Star can just keep firing, right? Like, I don't know if it's unlimited, but like it fired multiple times in Return of the Jedi. We know that.
It might. This is probably, and I think you're right. That's a very interesting theory. I really think that they figured out using the ship that they can need to recharge the crystals, and then it wasn't just an unending source of power. So this will be like the little test run to see if it's capable of the constant blast and the constant fire.
Yeah.
So
like,
that
how
is
do you
a really good
weaponize?
idea.
Yeah, how does it work in war? You know, it reminds me in
Experimenting.
X-Men when, like, you know, and X-Men 3 is terrible, X-Men The Last Stand. But the storyline that it adapted from the comics was really interesting with the Cure. But they put the Cure in a gun, right? So once you make something, some form of technology or whatever, how do you weaponize it? I think the Empire is trying all of their different methods of weaponizing Kyber.
Yep. And it's a way of turning the Jedi's own power against it.
Oh, yeah.
And having Palpatine know what he knows about kyber crystals and stuff like that, and further experiments for the Sith, and not only for the Empire but for the Sith, and how to weaponize such a powerful and sacred weapon. And it's gonna be detrimental to a lot of people, and I think there will be a lot of loss in these experiments.
Oh, for sure. I don't even think anyone else in the Empire realizes that the Emperor and Darth Vader would have expertise in kyber or anything lightsaber related. I'm sure people know Darth Vader carries a lightsaber, but wouldn't even click that like the Emperor is also a Sith and that he would know how to weaponize this type of stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really neat.
All right. Speaking of the Emperor, I want to talk about the Senate very quickly. And I mentioned it with Mon Mothma. I think it's going to be dead empty, useless, whatever. While that's happening, though, I think we're going to get a lot of action, and I'll use air quotes action, in like Senate corridors. Like we already saw a couple shots in the trailer of like Mon Mothma's like office or whatever. I think Coruscant is going to be very busy with corruption, behind the scenes dealings, plotting the rebellion, the Empire tightening its grip. I think we're going to get a lot of Coruscant and a lot of interactions there. And it's going to really make that planet feel alive because it felt so sterile in the prequels, right? You know?
Right. Yeah. And it's a little less fancy and it looks a little more gritty in this.
Yeah.
So like the Empire is already kind of shutting down the opulence and the carefree lifestyle of the wealthy people of Coruscant and just kind of like flipping that on its head. So
yeah, it's becoming sterilized. Like,
yeah. Jeff says the blonde officer, Miro, has 3 blue squares for her rank, and they show another guy with 5 blue.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, you came back.
Yeah, my cat was in here a few minutes ago too. Yeah, I don't know. I forget what that translates into, but apparently there are a lot of rank badges, especially in ISB. And you know how the Empire is. It's very hierarchical, very structured, overly so. Everyone's got to feel more important than they are, which is like the definition of Krennic. So it's going to be interesting to see what her actual role, her position is. Maybe she's going above and beyond because like she wants to be higher up and she's like that ambitious and ruthless. Right. I'm curious about the guy above her on the poster. Yeah. He looks like he's got that baby face where I'm like, I wonder, are you going to turn to the good guy side? You're too easy on the eyes to be the villain. Like, you know what I mean? Like he just looks like, So,
I don't know. I trust her a little more than I trust him. Like, I don't know.
She's stone cold Governor Price doppelganger, which I also will say, I think bitter. Like, we also just got an Imperial woman flipper, right? Who like in Obi-Wan. So I feel like people would think it's the same thing if we get one with her, with like the other woman character in this one. That's the problem with like female characters, right? And not the problem with female characters, the way they are written, usually by male writers. We don't get enough women in the mix, and therefore when someone does something that's similar, they immediately get compared. It's the Wonder Woman, Captain Marvel thing. They're both two superheroes who have super strength.
Yeah.
And it's like, male superheroes have super strength, and it's like the one thing that defines them. But because there's like not enough women characters, immediately it becomes this comparison.
Oh yeah, they're totally shoehorned.
I think it would be the same thing with this lady if she became a defector. Whereas I think the guy above her, defector potential.
I think that he's trying to get her position, and he wants more than just like a low, from what I'm speculating this. I think he's part of like some kind of like imperial police force on a planet and just made to keep the peace because, the rebellion's getting a little bit much they can carry. So they're these on the ground and some kind of police force, like, King's Guard and stuff and Game of Thrones. And I think he wants to be something more than just on the police force. He wants to be like an actual like ISB imperial officer. So this is him starting at the ground floor, and he's ready for something big. And that puts him in direct conflict with her because she's trying to keep him, underneath him, like under her thumb, and listen, I'm in charge of you guys. This is what you got to watch out for. So I think there will be conflict between the two of them.
I hope so. I'm trying to find him on IMDb also. Like, I don't know who he is from the cast list. If anyone knows who his name is, let us know.
I can look it up for you right now.
He was one of the people at the Q&A as well.
He is Kyle Solar.
Is he even listed? I don't think he's listed either.
He goes by Kyle
Solar.
He goes by Cyril.
It says he only has one episode, according to IMDb. Well, I guess so far, but like, is that true for the whole series? Do we know? He's 2 years younger than me. Okay, he's very cute. We know nothing else. I said, he's got a nice size IMDb. Like he's been gigging. He's been around since 2010.
He's my age. Nice.
101 Dalmatian Street. What is that? That's a TV series. There's some random stuff in here. I love like searching the IMDb pages of like everyone who's in Star Wars to see what else they've done. And every now and then I'd be like, oh yeah, I recognize that guy from that thing.
Yeah. He was in Fury too.
Huh. Interesting. And Audria looks like she might be a breakout star for sure. And she was in True Detective. She was in Person of Interest. Emerald City, which was a TV series in 2017. Oh, she was in Good Omens. That's probably what I recognize her from. I enjoyed Good Omens. It was good. It wasn't like it was not in need of like continuing, but like it was fine.
They did it for us.
Yeah, I was like, that was cool. So she seems great. I'm excited about this cast. That's another thing too. I think we're going to get some of the best character development, low action speaking, just like if you like a talkie movie, like where people are just interacting and building character, I think we're going to get a lot of this, which you've seen a lot of Star Wars. Sometimes it's just a lot of pew pew and a lot of lightsabers fighting. So I think we're going to get more of that now.
Agreed. I think we'll get some serious world building because you kind of want to see what life is like before the Empire like becomes the Empire and gets out of control, like how they got there and the beginnings of everything is really important and key to telling the rest of the story. And
do you see Dave's question?
Oh, let me see.
What do you think about this cloning thing?
Ooh,
it seems to be a thread that they're pulling kind of everywhere because I think they need to justify the sequel trilogy end game of that. So they need to like, in some ways, they almost need to just drop it in to be like, oh, we were thinking about it everywhere. But again, production order. Like clearly it's a shoehorn. I don't know if we're going to see anything about cloning. It seems too early for that.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too early for it. I don't think we'll see anything towards cloning until probably anything that happens after A New Hope in the timeline wise. So if anything is set that far, that's where we'll see it.
I don't think Palpatine was contingency planning for anything until Luke showed up. Like Luke is the triggering event. Yeah. Like, so New Hope makes perfect sense. So I agree with you fully on that. I think that like he was laser focused on Lothal and not just because the cartoon was set there. World Between Worlds is the nexus point on Lothal. the rebellion was small and pitiful, and so the Empire was just like flying across the galaxy, like taking over planets, like doing all those
Now, do you
things,
feel like
you
the
know.
Emperor was interested in Ezra not only because he was able to breach the world between worlds, but because he wanted to clone him because he was such a powerful Jedi in training?
Oh,
That's what I'm curious about.
so I hadn't thought about that, but like in theory, any Jedi they find, and they probably should have done this to like Luminara, maybe they weren't thinking about it at the time, they should have at least gotten blood samples. Because if there was going to be a long-term cloning plan, like you would have wanted every Jedi that you killed in Order 66 to at least extract their blood.
Yeah.
And they should have a blood bank of all the Jedi. This is so gross now that I'm saying it out loud, but like,
No, but you're
you
right.
know,
The creepier things have happened in Star
yeah. I
Wars.
just don't know if they were there on that. I think like the end game was Order 66, and then he's always contingency planning. And of course, like Operation Cinder, which is like the ultimate contingency plan. I really do think all of that was put together after Luke enters the scene. So it's like, oh no, there's a
Yes.
Skywalker child. Like Anakin actually
And
had the
there's
kids.
two of them?
Like,
Oh my
yeah,
God.
like whoa.
Yeah.
So at that point, because he could easily have like vanquished Vader whenever he wanted. That seems pretty clear from the comics and other
Right.
places, but he needed him as an enforcer and to keep the other Jedi at bay and to like lead the Inquisitors and all that stuff. But like once you realize that like Luke is around, oh, there's really a chance that you might lose. I don't think he was interested in cloning Ezra. I think he was interested in like the end game of like getting to the world between worlds. And in theory, like taking over Lothal. And Ezra just happened to be like a weird little hurdle that like should not have been such a hurdle. Like there's no reason, like, and I love the show. There's no reason that Ezra should have won that battle and the team. Like it's mind blowing that, and I know we're it's written for the heroes, like Ezra and the Ghost should never have been able to like even destroy the temple and stop the Emperor. Like it should have, like they should have easily been vanquished, but like luck was on their side, the Force was on their side. Things fell into
Right.
place in a very specific way.
But I
They
think
did
that's
their
where
best,
Palpatine
you know.
counted them out. Like
Yeah,
Ezra was
he
a
was not
lot more
prepared.
powerful than he was planning. And the
Yeah,
fact that they worked so well as a team
yeah,
to just get in there, blow stuff up, and get everybody out,
yeah,
mostly. Sorry, Canon. But they're specialized in what they did to stop Palpatine. So
yeah. I think they
great.
also got very, very, very lucky. Which I'm all for it. I also think the overall arc of Rebels is like pretty close to perfect. And I talked about this in a prior episode. Like you go up the ladder with fighting the villains, and they earn their way up to Palpatine, and it's not like they defeat him; they just escape. Like, which is, like, and Ezra escapes with his life, and like they destroy the temple, so the Emperor can't get to the world between worlds, and that's like a big win. But it's still a defensive win. They eventually liberate Lothal by getting rid of Thrawn, and it just so happens that the Emperor doesn't come back because Luke enters. And at that point, Ezra's gone. Like that would have been the time. Like Ezra disappears, the Empire comes back. Like Sabine and everyone is not stopping them. Like
Yeah.
there's no chance. Like the Purgles really saved the day in the finale. So it's like, oh, what do we do now? If when the might of the Empire comes, they just blow up like I said, like that this should have been the test spot for the Death Star, not Jeddah. I understand why they picked Jeddah.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense for the plot of that movie. And like, if you think you have all the time in the world, we'll get to Lothal when we get there. They would have never gone to Alderaan if Leia wasn't the one who had been given the Death Star plans. If it was Mon Mothma, they would have gone to Chandrila, and they would have blown up Chandrila. Like it was in Alderaan was like truly not even a spectator. They're like a side effect of what had happened. So
Yeah.
yeah, really unfortunate.
Now,
Will
do
we see
you feel?
Alderaan?
I think so. If we're
I
gonna
think so
see
too.
Bill, we'll see Alderaan in some way. Do you think we'll see Brea?
I hope so. I want Bale and Brea because she's a fulcrum. So I'd
And
like
maybe
to
she's
see
our
them.
fulcrum for this.
I would love that. I
That'd
think
be amazing.
we just saw them in Obi-Wan, and they would need to be about the same age for this, like ish. I think it's actually 5 years in the future compared to the Obi-Wan series. I think
Mhm.
Obi-Wan is 10 years before A New Hope, and this is 5 years before A New Hope. So you tussle her hair a little bit, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Um, I don't need to see Leia. I would like to, but like I don't need another actress cast as Leia if she's not the main
Yeah,
story.
Vivian's so good. I
I
don't want it to
know.
be
Yeah.
beaten that down because just got started. She loves Star Wars. She's too
Yeah.
adorable. Um, but again, I really hope we see Brea as a fulcrum
Me too.
and something that she does for the rebellion in her own way and kind of getting her out of the shadow of her husband and her daughter. Like, granted, she's a very loving mother and she's a very loving wife, but we don't get to see her in action too much against the Empire. So this could be
Exactly.
her chance if she shows up here.
And you know she's tough because she has to
Yeah.
deal with the political nonsense and at the same time deal with Leia. And then at the end when
Yeah.
she's like, "Is that a holster?" She's like, "Oh, I love it." So you know the girl can shoot. You know
Yes.
for a fact that like this lady is going to be like a marksman or something.
Exactly.
So I'm excited to see. I hope we see Bray. I think that'll be really cool. I don't think we'll see Ahsoka though. As we think about all the fulcrum, I don't think they're going to give us Ahsoka. I put a little list of aside from the Rogue One characters. I said we're not going to see Ahsoka, we're not going to see Boba Fett, obviously we're not going to see Mando, we're not going to see Thrawn, we won't see Callus, we won't see Bo-Katan. I also said for my own sadness we're not going to see Barriss Offee, so pour one out for me. They're all on my list. I don't think we'll see anyone from the Ghost, so no Zeb, no Hera, no Kanan, no Sabine, no Ezra, no Chopper. Like they're just not going to be there, even though the timeline would overlap in a way that they
I
should
think
all
we'll see
exist.
Commander Sato.
I would love that. And I think you're onto something with that type of thread where he was not a main cast of the crew of the Ghost, but he was there and he was important and he's an officer, like, and he's in the military specifically.
And
Um,
he and
that makes
Bail
sense.
Organa are like
Yes,
this and the
I
planning.
would
So
love
I
that.
think he's worked with the Organas and, obviously the rebellion to get this across. So I think we'll see him in
Yeah,
some form.
I think he would be a
That's my
welcome addition.
bold prediction.
I love
So
that. That's not that bold. I like it. I think it's good. It's a good swing. It's not a swing for the fences. Um, I also agree that what David just said, we should make Brea the new Aunt Beru. Like,
sign me up.
yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
And it's sad that we still need to say out loud that we need that. Like, we need a strong character, a strong female character, because we're still in this stupid space where like people are criticizing She-Hulk as being like woke. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like this comic's been out since the 70s or something. I was
Like
like,
pick
kill
up
me
a
now.
book, go to your
I know.
LCS,
It
get
like
it.
makes me physically ill. But it's gonna take like
Ooh.
just constantly chipping away at it.
So David wants to know, will we catch mention of the Ghost crew off screen like we did in Rogue One?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I think so. And they're pretty active at this point. And in some way or another, obviously like Hera's still out there
The
completing
Ghost
her
could be
missions.
parked at Yavin. We're gonna spend a lot of time on Yavin, right? Do we agree with that?
I think so, yeah.
That's where we
it
saw the
is
Ghost in Rogue One, just
yeah.
parked and then again in space. I would do that again. I would like park it at Yavin one day. It's just there. So we know they're alive. We know they exist. I don't need
Chopper
anything more
just
than
rolls
that.
by.
Yeah, I don't even need to see him. Like, because I would love it, but
No,
at the
I
same
know.
time, like it would, unless it adds to the plot, what I don't want the show to become is like a series of Easter eggs.
Right. And I
think
don't
that's
want
the
it to be
danger.
distracting. And I don't think it
Yeah.
will, because this is, as Jeff has said, from what he's seen, this show is serious. It's a very serious show.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I think if they do things like that, where it's like, hey, it's that crew member, or that, it's Commander Sato in this case, or it will be done in the most tasteful way possible. It won't be like fluff fan service. So you can just be like, oh my God. But
you know what they will do for fan service, and it'll annoy me, but it's predictable. We will have to see R2 and C3PO because they're literally in everything. There's nothing that they haven't been in. Every prequel movie, every original trilogy movie, every sequel movie, Rogue One. They were not in Solo, but they're in Rebels. They're in Clone Wars. That's what sunk Solo. Who knew that not having them in it was like the kiss of death.
Detrimental.
Yeah.
Wait, were they in?
I don't think they were in Solo.
They're not in Book of Boba Fett either, or Obi-Wan.
You're right. They've stopped shoehorning them in.
Yeah.
Is this
Although
the
they did have a protocol droid, but it wasn't 3PO. It was like L something.
No, I'm still going to say they're going to throw them in because they were in Rogue One, because they were unnecessarily in Rogue One. So I think they will unnecessarily appear in this, and it actually makes sense for the time period. Like, you kind of want them. I think we just saw a picture of R5D4 in the Mando trailer with Perry with a Perimoto.
Pelly.
Amy Sedaris. So
we know what you
say with
meant.
Amy. So who, by the way, I love. I've talked about her at length. Amy Sedaris is the greatest.
She
All
is
hail Amy.
brilliant in Clerks 3.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
she's in Clerks 3. Shut
She
up.
she
How have I
is
not heard this?
she is Randall's doctor when you can see her in the
What?
trailer. She's dressed as the Wicked Witch because she's going to a party,
Oh my
and
God.
she plays the doctor that Kevin Smith's actual doctor was inspired by. And they talk about the Mandalorian. It's so meta, but
Shut
sorry,
up.
spoilers. But
No,
yeah,
that's fine. Now, well,
it's
I
so
was gonna
funny.
wait for streaming on that one, but now because Amy Sedaris is in it,
It's
yeah,
and
Jeff
she's
is
so
saying the
good.
same thing. Awesome in Clerks 3. So, all right, I will
Yes.
add that to my. I didn't end up seeing. I want to say X Pearl. I didn't end up seeing Pearl last weekend, so I'm going to try to go this week. But I'll put Clerks 3 on my list. There's just a lot. It's too much content. I was telling you, I haven't started on Rings of Power, and I won't start on House of Dragons. I'm going to enjoy She-Hulk and Andor, and that's going to be it. And RuPaul's Drag
Yeah.
Race. Like I got 3 shows, and that's it. I'm
3 at a
capped.
time. There you go.
Yeah. Plus I'm on a show. And plus wraparound content. So
Yeah.
there you go. 3
You do
shows,
great
wraparound
work.
content, and then the show we make. And then
Yeah.
of course like the VCN stuff. So Thursday nights with the watch along, which I'm realizing now we're just about time. Do you want to make one? Let's each make one more big prediction,
Sure.
and then wish everyone a good night. What do you have as your? You want to swing big? Say something crazy.
All right. I think Saw is going to recruit. Well, no. I think Stellan Skarsgård is going to recruit Cassian for something big, and it's going to cost him someone that he loves. And
Someone's
whether
gonna
it
die
be
as collateral damage.
the girl over there that we see next to Mon Mothma, I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name, whether it be her, because they look pretty cozy in the trailer. And I think the fact that she's no longer around, it will go wrong and she will die, and it will just increases the IDGAF level, and he just will start becoming a ruthless assassin, kind of falling along the Saw Gerrera side of things. Like doing what you have to do in the name of the rebellion, don't care about anybody, don't feel sorry for anybody, just save whatever you can from the empire. So I really think that something big is going to happen with her, and it's gonna not only losing his family, but like someone he really loved, is gonna just catapult him into that level of headspace.
Yeah. Oh, David's thinking Cassian loses a love interest. That could be interesting.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Yep. I'm in that same headspace where I agree with that. I'm thinking it's the parents, and that's just going to fuel him for as long as it needs to. And I think because of that, it's going to be hard for him to make connections with people because he's afraid of abandonment or whatever. I don't know if I kind of don't want them to give him a love interest. But like, I get it that like, because I don't think Star Wars does love stories well. I think I've already mentioned that before. It's not their strongest suit. They do politics well. Yeah, even and yeah. Honestly, again, I think they do best friends really well. I think that Han and Lando, who are like frenemies, are a great relationship. I think they do that well. Cantankerous relationships between people work great, and sometimes it's the actors exceeding the written paper. I think Han and Leia are good examples of that. Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher each bring such an interesting like presence to the role that they make like what works on like they just if you read it on paper, these two should not be together, and yet you root for both of them because you love both of these people, not just the characters they've created. So I just don't think Star Wars does love stories well, and I hope in fact that like we don't see a lot of that. Like I'd like there to be like no romance in this thing because we're at war and everyone should just be depressed. I think that's like I think that's better for everyone.
No love for you.
Yeah. Oh, I'll make a weird bold prediction.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so and I was gonna go with like the Mon Mothma Saw Gerrera thing we had talked about earlier, but I don't in the sense of like not repeating. I do think that he's gonna do something to lose her trust, but I also think he's gonna do it in a way that he's actually like trying to protect her. So maybe killing someone who's gonna reveal her identity is the right way in on that. So I actually still think that's gonna happen, and I think that's actually my biggest swing. Other than the fact that I think if Mon Mothma has a love interest, I think it's gonna be another woman. So there's some weird like there was a photo. There was from the trailer. Like there was another. the lady who's standing next to her, Jason just turned to me and was like, "Is that her girlfriend?" And I was like, "Mon Mothma's not a lesbian." And then I was like, "Well, Mon Mothma also is not married and never had any kids, and we don't know anything about Mon Mothma actually, other than the fact that we know about her job. But I don't know anything about her personal life, and that's true for all the characters, like
There we
throughout most
go.
of Star Wars. I know nothing about anyone's orientation.
Yeah.
They're so, and in fact, like I also don't know if Disney is actually going to give us an openly LGBTQ character, especially such an important one. However, that woman is super important. I'd hope for it to be a girlfriend, just because like I also know it pisses people off.
There
But
you
like
go.
I think that that's actually like quite possible, just based on
Yeah.
like that extrapolation. But it could also be a sister, it could also be a friend, it could also just be another coworker, it could be anyone. Like whoever it is, though, I think that
Or
lady
her
is expect.
assistant or something.
Yeah, my big swing will either be it's either going to be a girlfriend or that woman's going to die or both, and I think there's a Venn diagram there to be talked about. So
So
I
both
think
her and Cassian lose someone they love,
yeah,
and it just kind of propels them into that direction.
yeah.
Oh, that's so
Mon
good.
Mothma's already in the fight, but I think this will be the thing that could break her. But I think there's something with that lady, and I think it's
Hmm.
more than just espionage. So I'm going to
Eh,
swing big on that one. That's crazy. So I think I'll be wrong. I
I
make
don't
a
think
lot of
that's
wrong
crazy at
predictions
all.
all the
I think
time, but
that's
like,
really
yeah,
good. We're knocking them out
that's
tonight. Like,
fun. Yeah, really good.
damn.
All right. So there we go. Who else in the comments thinks that Mon Mothma's a lesbian? Let us know. So, yes. All right. With
Yeah.
that, let's talk about what's coming up. Thursday, everyone tune into the VCN with the three amigos, Spencer, Dave, Jeff. I think all of them are going to be on Thursday. I know Spencer's in Disney right now, so I think he's back in
Spencer
time.
is
Oh,
building that lightsaber at Savi's right now. Or
excellent.
and eating that
That's going to be
food
really
and
fun.
wine.
They're going to
Yeah.
do the watch along for Andor episodes 1 and 2. Obviously, everyone who's watching us, I'm sure you know Andor premieres this Wednesday at 3 in the morning. So make sure you watch and
So
then watch along
watch.
on Thursday.
Let us know how wrong we are.
Yeah.
Mock us, please. We're
We're not going
trying
to
here.
see. We're not going to see Mon Mothma until a little bit later in the series, is what I'm hearing. So I have plenty of time to be wrong. But we got 24
Yes.
episodes for me to just like week by week be like, still wrong, still wrong, still wrong. Here we go. Um, and then we are coming back next week on Monday, the 26th, with our wrap up of the first 3 episodes, because it is going to feel like a movie, and just see if we have any Rebels connections. After that, we are not doing weekly recaps on Andor. We'll mix in discussion with our regular watch alongs, and we'll
Yeah.
get back to sort of like, now that Andor August and then some is over, regularly sort of scheduled Star Wars Rebels Revisited related content. And we'll mix in some Andor along the way, but we're not going to do proper review episodes like everyone else has that stuff going.
Yeah. We'll give you our thoughts on the episode, like little
Yeah.
Cliff Notes version, but we're not going to get as sweaty and as into it as our boys are. So
Yeah,
tune
we're
in on
leaving that to the
Thursdays for the
Thursday
full
guys.
recaps. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Unifying Force, I know will be doing like some kind of coverage throughout. And then the Monday after that is Monday, October 3rd, which will be the
Yeah.
week that New York Comic Con starts. We don't have anything to announce exactly at the moment yet, but like that'll probably be a watch along of sorts. So we're figuring out what our October looks like, including like maybe some spooky season kind of stuff, since we're in the build up to Halloween. And of course, like if anything
Yeah.
happens on Andor that we think is like a critical thing, like if Commander Sato pops up in Andor, we will do a Sato watch along as a
Yeah.
follow up or something. So we'll be adjusting the
Yeah.
content based on what happens in the Andor show.
And I know I myself won't be around for, I think it's Monday the 24th, because I will be down at Spooky Empire Orlando helping
Ooh,
my friend Brian Fife out. Come see
nice.
us. But we'll be doing a day in Epcot and Magic Kingdom, and then a day in Universal. And
Oh, how fun.
so I will not be here for that, but you can rest assured you'll be in good hands with the guys.
Yeah.
And
I'll
I
get someone to
just,
co-host with me. Yeah, we'll
yeah,
pull
it'll
in.
just be such an exciting month. We have all this good content coming up, and it's going to be cool to see how like we can plug it into like, oh, this is how it fits into Rebels. This is on the same lane as Rebels, and just go from there.
Yeah,
So
it's gonna be a good time.
see how wrong we are.
I can't wait. And then, like
Yes.
we said, Andor goes all the way through Thanksgiving. It's crazy that it goes that long. And then Bad Batch kicks up in early 2023. So a
Right.
lot. The Star Wars will not stop. The Star Wars Rebels Revisited will not stop. So as a final reminder,
Yes.
check out our shirt at the T Public
Yes.
store. It supports all the swag for Star Wars Celebration. Check out the Thursday night watch along with the boys. And then I think this Sunday is Jedi Archives, not Unifying Force, but I could be wrong. It's one of those. The boys on Thursday will tell you.
Right. So make sure you tune in, listen to what the boys have to say, get your rewatches in, get your first time watches in, and join. Have fun with us.
Yep. And then we'll see you Monday, the 26th, for our Andor episodes 1, 2, and 3 download, review, discussion.
Yes. Looking forward to that because, it's the beginning of the beginning.
I know, it's crazy.
Yay. I'm excited. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. It was awesome to discuss this with you. Catherine, have a good night. We hope you all have a fantastic week. And don't forget to tune in on Thursday with the VCN to check out the Andor watch along.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
May the force be with you.
May the force be with you.